Hey all! Chinese New Year is coming up in less than a week. This holiday, also called Spring Festival, is the most important holiday of the year for most Chinese people. Traditionally, it's also the busiest travel season in China, with people all over the country going to their hometowns to celebrate with their families. Something like Thanksgiving or Christmas in the United States, though much larger. Lots of people in China who work in big cities like here in Shanghai, or in Beijing, Guangzhou, or Shenzhen are originally from other faraway provinces. Or even those born in those big cities may still consider another place to be their hometown. This is a bit of a cultural difference between China and the US, that many Chinese consider their hometown to be whatever place their family is historically from, regardless of whether they themselves have lived there or not. And Chinese New Year is a traditional time to go back to that hometown, regardless of how far or difficult it is to get there. This creates a huge travel rush known as Chunyun, literally spring travel, that is, travel for Spring Festival. Unlike the Thanksgiving travel rush in the US that's focused on airports, Chunyun is more about train travel since many workers in big cities can't afford to fly. Some lower income workers can't even afford the cost of China's spiffy new high speed network, so they travel on slower trains that may take over a day to reach their destination, often in a seat or even standing room only. That's how important getting back to their families is to these workers. And that's going to be a problem this year. While the COVID-19 pandemic is much more under control here in China than in many other countries, it's still not over. This has been made abundantly clear over the past few weeks as more cases have cropped up in Shanghai, in Beijing, and in many other parts of China. The vaccine rollout here is still very much in its early phases, so there are still many people who are vulnerable. Although there haven't been all that many cases here compared to in many other countries, China is taking no chances. They don't want another near catastrophe like what happened in Wuhan last year. So in Beijing and Shanghai, schools have gone back to online classes. I'm a teacher, so this affected me. I've been using an app to deliver lessons from my classroom directly to my students' homes in various parts of Shanghai. Signs have come up, again, reminding people to maintain good hygiene and discouraging people from large gatherings. Most importantly, travel restrictions have started to pop up. China is concerned that extensive travel, like what normally happens at Chinese New Year, could spread the coronavirus and lead to a second wave. For that reason, travelers going to other provinces in China may be required to take a coronavirus test prior to travel, or they may be required to quarantine upon arrival in another province, or both. There's even an app set up so that people can check if their travel plans require a test or not. China is trying to be somewhat flexible for the sake of its own people. For many Chinese, not seeing family at Chinese New Year is all but unthinkable. That's why in most cases they're allowing travel with a negative COVID test. Nonetheless, travel is down this year. Fewer train tickets have been sold this year than in previous years. Most people I talk to here in Shanghai, whether Chinese or not, are staying here in the city. Most years, Shanghai's population drops significantly during this holiday as so many people go back to their hometowns in other provinces. This year, more and more people are choosing to play it safe and remain here in the city, whether for fear of the virus itself or for fear that an outbreak in either their destination or back here in Shanghai could make it harder to get back to work after the holiday is over. For our own part, we won't be going back to Guangdong to see family like we might in a more normal year. Going to see my family in the US is obviously out of the question with international travel being what it is now. We could actually probably get into the US, but it would be very difficult to impossible for me to get back into China thereafter. So we plan to stay here. We're hoping Shanghai Disneyland isn't going to close since we have an annual pass there. I don't know if we'll be back to in-person school or still doing online classes when our holiday ends in late February. I think a lot will depend if more cases surface during the holiday and the government fears the second wave. I'm hoping things will be back to normal fairly soon, but it's all pretty up in the air now. But I will say that I don't really fear actual danger at this point. It helps a lot that I'm vaccinated. Speaking of which, I got a work email not too long ago about more vaccinations. They were asking for sign-ups among people who haven't already gotten the jab. So hopefully that means the vaccine rollout will continue well and that COVID cases will go down, not only here in China, but all over the world. I'd like to visit home eventually, after all. And while I don't have a lot of hope for it to happen this year, I would certainly love to be pleasantly surprised. Happy New Year to everyone who celebrates it. I hope you've enjoyed this little update about how things are going this unusual Chinese New Year. If you want to see and hear more about my life here in China, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like this video. Thanks so much for watching. See you all later. Bye.